What if the endless exhaustion, anxiety, beating your head against the wall, trying to figure out why your relationship just can't be any easier has nothing to do with you? What if you are a healthy, well-adjusted human that is just responding to the environment that the relationship is creating in a very natural way? What if you are in a one-sided relationship? Hi, my name is Rodgers, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be sharing with you why one-sided relationship dynamics can be so tricky to identify, especially if you have been in a relationship for a while. Also, if you're new to relationships or to a relationship, this will help you identify some signs and some cues that you may actually be dealing with somebody who's just in the relationship for one-sided dynamics. So to define a one-sided relationship, it is when one person is emotionally invested, putting in time, care, and effort, while the other person isn't meeting them at the same level. Essentially, what it feels like is one person is taking on the brunt of the relationship while the other person is just passive. Because unfortunately, in one-sided relationship dynamics, what happens a lot of the time is the person who's carrying the brunt of the relationship, the light is always on them. Oh, you're just better at doing everything. God, you are so good at remembering our life and keeping us all together when you are drowning and you need help. And the person that you are in a relationship with is very good at keeping that light on you and deflect it off of them. What ends up happening is this creates a very imbalanced dynamic where one person is constantly running, constantly thinking, constantly trying to manage, constantly trying to regulate and keep the relationship going and really just make it stay afloat. Because if you are truly in a relationship with somebody who is healthy and well-adjusted, they are going to be fine with the light being put onto them to see where they may be lacking for it to become a balanced dynamic, not a one-sided dynamic. Because a lot of times the heartbreaking truth that needs to be said is that people who want to be in relationships for the benefit of the one-sided dynamic only want you in the relationship for what they can get from you. They only want to be in the relationship with you because you will give to the relationship. And then when it comes to anything that you need, like your tending to, your needs, your prioritization, whatever it may be, they then will shine the light on you so that they can take a step back. These types of interactions really are telling about if you are in a one-sided dynamic or not, because this is exactly what happened to me. Man, did they really like when I could just give and give and give and give and give and give to the relationship. But the second I needed help, the second I needed prioritization, the second I needed my needs met, it became pulling teeth. It became such a burden. And a one-sided relationship dynamic is honestly just a really nice way of saying that you are in a relationship with somebody who is at their best emotionally immature. At their best. Now, the thing about life that you need to know is that whatever you have, you get more of. So if you are in a relationship with somebody who is at their best emotionally immature, your relationship quality is only going to get worse with time. And more than likely, you will end up in an abusive relationship. So these are the tools that I wish were available when I was struggling with my relationship to understand why it was so hard and understanding that I was actually in a one-sided relationship dynamic. So the first way to take a look at your relationship is through the anxious avoidant lens. Now, the good news is you've probably already done this. So in talking about attachment styles, there are 4 attachment styles that any person can find themselves in. They can be secure, they can be anxious, they can be avoidant, and they can be disorganized, which is essentially like avoidant and anxious together in one. But what was really frustrating for me is that there were some very important pieces of information when it came to looking at your relationship through this lens, which is this: if you are in any type of good relationship, you are both going to be secure. You are both going to be secure most of the time. That is where you are going to operate from. For whatever reason, so much of the information out there makes you think, okay, well, if I tend to have anxious tendencies and the person that I'm in a relationship tends to have avoidant tendencies, we're just going to be in this constant push and pull, and it's just going to be very hard. And that's why the relationship is always going to be draining, because I'm anxious, so it makes them avoid. No. That's not what that means. What should be said is that if you feel like you are anxious and the other person is avoidant, but you are both healthy people, okay? Again, healthy people. That means there are things going on in your relationship environment that are keeping you from being secure. Now, if there is something that is existing in your relationship that you feel off about, that you don't know about, but you can tell something's wrong, generally as the anxious person, you are going to feel that right away. And so you are going to come to the person that you are in a relationship with and say, hey, I think there's something going on. Can we figure out, why I'm feeling anxious or what's going on that's keeping me, at a heightened state? Let's figure that out. And those weren't the best words, but that's essentially what's going on underneath the surface is you feel something. And so you go to your partner. If you are with somebody who is healthy, they will say, oh yeah, let's figure this out. Let's figure out what's going on. If you are with somebody who is in the relationship for a one-sided dynamic, they are going to use this to their benefit because they are going to say, hey, this is making me want to avoid. And you know what? That is going to be their natural reaction, to avoid. They are not going to want to partake with you in figuring out why you may be anxious, why you had a rough day, why the past week has felt really off. They don't want any of that. Your needs are too much. You need to figure all of that out on your own. That is what they're going to want because you're coming to them with a problem that they say they can't help with. They don't want to help with because they don't get any benefit out of that. That requires them giving, right? So they are going to put the spotlight on you and you are going to stay stuck in that cycle of trying to figure out, okay, well, what is wrong with me? Why am I so anxious? They said nothing was wrong with them, but I can feel something is off. Sound familiar? And this is what keeps you stuck in a one-sided relationship dynamic because you are constantly trying to figure out why you are so anxious while this other person is just happily avoiding anything that you come to them with, right? Because they now have an excuse for why they cannot healthily and willingly, just even genuinely want to come into the relationship to help bring it back to a healthy foundation. I spent so long thinking that, oh, I'm just anxious, so I'm anxious all the time, and that makes this other person avoid, so they are avoidant all the time. So I need to do all this work to try to regulate the relationship back into a good place. But this person that I was in a relationship with didn't want that because that would have meant that they are giving to the relationship in a good and healthy way. And again, they didn't want that. They only want what I can give to the relationship. So it truly benefited them for me to not only stay anxious, but to think that that is what our relationship is supposed to be. Now, again, that's worth saying both people have to be healthy. And you may be sitting there saying, okay, well, maybe I'm just not healthy. If you are trying to figure out how to get your relationship back to a harmonious, easy, loving, reciprocal state, you're probably not, more than likely. And I even just want to say, you're not the problem. There might be somebody out there who has, a few things that they need to work on in order to be healthy. But again, more than likely, if you are trying to figure out resolve and you are willing to do the work and actually doing the work, you are not the problem. Okay? So that just needs to be said. So there you go. You are not the problem. But in case if this wasn't fully illustrated, if you are with somebody healthy, they are going to be looking at themselves to do their part to help bring you and themselves back to a harmonious state, because that is where you operate from and that is where you are most of the time. Not stuck in this dynamic of, well, I'm just the anxious person in the relationship and they avoid and that's just where we are. No. We need to look at not just the other person, but ourselves. And if we have determined that we are doing the work, we are putting in what's necessary, and that you are healthy enough to be in a healthy relationship, more than likely, this person is just not a healthy person to be in a relationship with long term. Now, the second way to take a look at your relationship is through the love languages. Now, this isn't about knowing your love language and how you like to give and receive love, as well as this other person's. This is about understanding and feeling what it is like to interact with them with your love languages. So it's like, what is underneath the current of what is being given and what is being received? And I feel a little bit like Joey Tribbiani there with the giving and receiving. But anyway, and just to recap with the love languages, if you're unfamiliar, it is words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now, if you are experiencing one-sided relationship dynamics, the general tone of what it's like to give and receive the love language with them is that they almost expect their love language to be met consistently. And if you don't have the capacity, if you don't have just like the means or within you to be able to give it to them kind of whenever they demand it, you are the problem. Like, you have something going on with you. You are not tending to them. You are not giving to them. You are the problem. But when it comes to you and your love languages, they will definitely make sure they do not give to you in a way that is satisfying. They do not give to you in a way that lights you up. They do not give to you in a way that makes you feel loved. They make you even think that your love language is a burden, right? Are you picking up on some of these common threads here? That they cannot tend to you. Whatever you need is too much. But whenever they need their love language met, you better be able to give it to them, because otherwise you're the problem. And did you notice that in either situation, you're the problem? That's why these one-sided relationships are set up the way that they are, is so that it never comes to them. It is always about you. Now, when it comes to a one-sided relationship where it is a female to male and the male is in it for the one-sided dynamic, his love language, more often than not, is going to be physical touch. And it's not just physical touch, it's physical intimacy. And this is set up in this way so that they can get access to you while avoiding connection. Because at the end of the day, people, especially males, who are in one-sided relationship dynamics with females, they cannot connect and they don't want to connect to them. You know, they have all these reasons why in their life it makes it difficult for them to connect, and they just aren't good at it. And what is funny to me where I am now in my life, if somebody were to tell me that, I would just be like, okay, well, it sounds like you're not fit for a long-term relationship. Move on with your life. And when I say move on, I mean you move on with your life. People who are in relationships for the one-sided dynamic try to figure out how to give as little as possible while getting as much as they can in return. And this is why I believe and have experienced that males who are in one-sided relationship dynamics, that's how they like to give and receive love, is through physical touch. But it's not just, the hug or like the, arm patting or anything like that. It is physical intimacy. And if you can't meet that, you are the problem. Now, when I have observed females weaponizing love languages, it's generally receiving gifts. And again, they take advantage of this in the way so that they can just get whatever they can get from you, because it's not about creating a balance. It's not about give and take. It's none of that. It is about demand. That's really what it is. It's demand. And if you don't meet that demand, there is guilt, you feel bad, and you self-blame, right? Like, how I truly must be the problem in this relationship if I cannot even meet their love language. But it is completely disproportionate to a healthy relationship and what those dynamics are set up for. Now, any love language could technically be weaponized, but those are the two most popular that I see in those two types of one-sided dynamics, depending if you're in the relationship with a male or female. But furthermore, more often than not, regardless of what your love language is, when you tell them what it is and they give it to you, they make you regret almost that is your love language, because they never give to you in a satisfying, fulfilling, like, this is why I'm in this relationship. This is why I continue to choose this person, because this just makes me feel so elated kind of way. They give to you in a way that makes you regret having a love language, makes you wish you didn't have one. And over time makes you shift, I believe, into the words of affirmation becoming your new love language. And the reason why is because this is the most low effort that they could give. Just telling you, oh, you look really nice today. Oh, I really like that. Oh, you look really pretty. Every now and again is probably the most low effort thing that they could give to the relationship in order for you to continually meet the demands of their love language in the relationship. Because for contrast, if you are in a healthy relationship with someone, when it comes to your love language, they know what it is and they know what you like and they know how to give it to you in a way that makes you feel all those amazing things, because it makes them feel good to do that too. Like, do you see the reciprocity here of how the energy is set up for like you giving to each other, but you both get, but you both get the good feeling back, regardless if you are the giver or the receiver in the situation? It's set up that way. But when you are in a relationship with somebody who's just in it for the one-sided dynamics, you become more anxious, you become more exhausted, you become more frustrated, you become more self-blaming, like you just get stuck in that cycle. And at the end of the day, the only logical thing you can deduce is that you are a very difficult person to be in a relationship with because you can't ever get an opportunity to look at them. And when you can never get an opportunity to look at them and see how they contribute to the relationship, it's very hard to see what is going on. So I hope giving you some perspectives to take a look at your relationship through lenses that you've probably already taken a look in it at. That was kind of a weird sentence. But hopefully by giving you an approach to take a look at your relationship to get to the root of it, like the true root of it, to get an understanding as to why it's just not working out. Hopefully you can start to see there really are some one-sided dynamics going on. And a few more questions you can be thinking about as you go through your own relationship and questioning your own relationship is, if I stopped putting in effort, would the relationship continue? Do you feel respected and appreciated, or just mostly anxious and tired? And are you holding on to good moments or just even to potential of this person? Which, by the way, isn't your fault. They've probably showed you that they have potential. And so you know that about them, and they're constantly not stepping into it. So it's probably very frustrating to experience. But if you are, we need to check in with reality. We need to come down from the clouds. We need to step in to ourselves where we are and take a look around and say, man, I'm doing a lot and this person just isn't meeting me. So hopefully now you have enough lenses and enough questions to ask yourself to look at the person that you are in a relationship with. And you don't even need to test them. Life will test them. You just need to observe and be able to take stock enough of the relationship and their behaviors for you to be able to sit there and say, all right, I've created enough knowing I'm in a relationship with somebody who's only in it for the one-sided dynamics. Now, does that mean your relationship can't be saved? You can address this, but this is work that they need to do. And this is really going to just be even more telling if you are in a relationship with somebody who's just in it for the one-sided dynamics or not. Because if they are trying to now make up for the things that they have not paid attention to, haven't seen, and that they need to give, they're going to need to give to the relationship for a while before you start to feel safe, before you start to relax, before that anxiety starts to lift. And if you are in the relationship with somebody healthy, they're not going to think, oh, I have to do this for a while for you to feel good so I can go back to what I was doing before. They're going to know this is now my new baseline, my new bare minimum baseline of how I contribute to the relationship. And now I feel good because now I know what I can give to the relationship to make it feel even better. People who are in it for the one-sided dynamics may show up every now and again and give a little bit here and there, but again, they will blame you. They will tell you, oh, well, you're keeping track of me. Oh, well, this is a new behavior for me. They have every real excuse in the book as to why they can't step up. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to decide for yourself, what do you want your life and the future of your life to look like? Do you want it to be this where you are right now? And it's like, this might be a little dark, but it's only going to get worse. It needs to be said, but it is a little dark. But the good news is you can now have a reliable discernment within yourself to see what type of person you are in a relationship with. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what understanding you give to them, what labels you give to the relationship. I know how heavy a relationship can feel when it is one-sided. And the sooner you can pull yourself out of that, the sooner you can get back to being yourself and living the life that you actually want to. So hopefully this is enough information to get you going and to be able to discern if you are in a relationship with somebody who's just there for the one-sided dynamics. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.